Hello and welcome to your own channel. Let's talk business once again. I'm Ravi and we have a couple of important things to discuss. So let's start talking business. But before starting this video presentation, I would like to make it clear that the Blueprint 2 program is very big and dynamic in nature. After all, it's about changing the market's 30-plus-year-old system and processes. The information presented in this video is my own research and understanding. My attempt is to provide you with an overview and direction, but I will highly encourage you to do your own independent in-depth analysis for the various subjects discussed in this video presentation and my previous video presentations. Alright, let's start today's topic. For those who are watching this video first time, I will highly encourage you to watch first part of this video by clicking the link provided at the top right of this video presentation. So in the last video presentation, we discussed the challenges in the risk placement and accounting and settlement business processes at very high level. In this video presentation, we will see how some of the Blueprint 2 solutions are helping to address these challenges. So let's move on to the next slide. It's a very familiar slide which I used in my last presentation. In the last presentation, we talked about the scattered and the duplicate data. We talked about the lurking errors in the data and processes which can appear at the very last moment. We also talked about the time-consuming manual work and lot of paperwork involved in the process. And we also try to understand how these challenges are impacting the business by making the overall process extremely frustrating, extremely slow, and very, very expensive. So again, if you have not seen my first video presentation in this series, then click the link on top left of this video presentation to understand the current presentation better. The central idea behind the Blueprint 2 is to make the market better, faster, cheaper. And in this presentation, we will see how the solution under the Blueprint 2 program are aimed to achieve this cheaper, better, faster objective. So let's move on to the next slide. Again, this is at a very high level placement process which we have discussed in our last video presentation. So I am not going to explain it again over here. In this process, we discuss about the scattered and duplicate data, which is everywhere in the process. We also discuss about the lurking error in the data and processes. We talked about the time consuming manual work, and then finally we also talked about a lot of paperwork which is involved here. Now let's see how Blueprint 2 solutions are helping to address these challenges. But before getting into challenges, I would like to mention that many people think that the Blueprint 2 is all about making software solution for the problem. Well, this is not entirely correct. Blueprint 2 is also about laying the standard which will pave the way to capture the right data upfront. Well, the data part is very important. Insurance industry is a data hungry industry as well, and having the right data upfront in the process will help various IT solutions to deliver greater efficiencies across the business process by applying various cutting edge technology like AI and automation. But the key is right data first. So our data journey starts at the broker over here, and it starts when the broker start crafting the contract or MRC or market reform contract. Well, I have covered the MRC multiple times in my various presentations, so I am not going to discuss the MRC in detail here, but at a very high level, it is the standard document format which is used by the broker to capture the information like insured information, risk information, premium information, or tax information to present it to the underwriters. So in my view, the whole Blueprint 2 show starts from here. To capture the right data, we have MRC version 3, which was also briefly called as IMRC or Intelligent Market Reform Contract, but I personally like MRC version 3. It is pretty simple, straightforward. Now the question is, what is this MRC version 3 all about? Now the MRC version 3 is an improved version of the previous MRC, which is designed to construct the core data record by adopting the industry standard like Accord GRLC. I mean, the sections and the data element in MRC version 3 are carefully designed and organized after the market consultation. And the aim is simple: capture the right data to make CDR using Accord standard. Now, some of you might be thinking we started with MRC and CDR, and now we started talking about the Accord standard, but don't worry, I will try to explain you in a simple terms. Now, for those who don't understand Accord stands for Association for Cooperative Operations Research and Development. It's a global standard setting body for insurance and related financial services industry. Accord standards help to facilitate fast, accurate data exchange and efficient workflow to achieve greater digital process through accurate data by leveraging latest AI and automation technique. But at the core is a body ensuring the data standard. We also talked about the core data record or CDR. I call this as a golden record. It's a golden record about the contract. It's a core data record which will drive the digital process across the business process lifecycle. Having the CDR help in many ways. CDR in Blueprint 2 context is closely related to the Accord standard, which means having the greater data quality. And if you have a high quality data upfront, then it will help you to automate the downstream processes, which will eliminate the problem of raking data at various different steps in the business process or various different systems in the business process. And then finally, CDR means ensuring the consistent data which you can trust across the business process. So CDR is going to play an extremely important role in the entire Blueprint 2 program. Now, if you can see here closely, the problem related to the scattered and duplicate data, lurking errors in the data and processes, time-consuming manual work, and paperwork that we have discussed in last video presentation will be addressed by CDR, because now you have a data set or a golden record through which you can automate a lot of business processes. The CDR is currently at version 3.2 and was published last year in March along with MRC, which is at version 3, after a huge market consultation conducted by Data Council's PRR team. The Accord also published Contract Risk and Pre-Accounting, or CRP, which is a new data standard to construct the CDR record in the market. Don't worry if this sounds too technical. I will cover the Accord CRP for CDR in my subsequent video presentations. So let's stitch all together. CDR will be created by leveraging the Accord standard, which is also embedded in MRC version 3. The important point to understand here is that MRC version 3, CDR, and as a matter of fact Accord, they all are data standard and not the IT solution by its own. Hence, as I said earlier, Blueprint 2 is not all about making software. It's also about adopting the right industry standard. Moving ahead, now you have a core data record which is leveraging Accord global standard, and you have updated the MRC to MRC version 3 to ensure that you have all important data element captured upfront, either by the broker or placement platform like PPL, NextGen, or Whitespace. I will talk about placement platform in context of Blueprint 2 later in this series. But now you have CDR, which is captured early in the process. So the next important thing is to ensure that the CDR remain intact across the process. Hence, we have digital gateway in place. The digital gateway is also referred as IROS, or International Risk Orchestration Services. One of the fundamental functions of the digital gateway, or IROS, is to ensure that the CDR remain intact, as I said earlier, which means that it will ensure that the CDR represents the latest and accurate position of the business data. It will also receive the CDR APIs call from various vendor systems, will validate those APIs call, augment the data, store the CDR, and will make them available for the retrieval services by various vendors and carrier systems. So it provides the services around the CDR by automatically checking it for the completeness and ensuring that the core data record, or CDR, is the standard for both company market and Lloyd's market. Additionally, for Lloyd's market, the IROS services will also check the tax and regulatory related information. Having the digital gateway continuously monitoring and ensuring the CDR remain intact will help in many different ways. For example, ensuring the correctness of CDR or the right data will help to leverage the power of automation. It will further reduce the manual effort to ensure the data correctness. Having the correct data record upfront will also help to reduce the time consuming manual queries. I mean, having the right data for automation will reduce the manual query and will reduce the processing time, and more importantly, will bring the data transparency across the business process. Sometimes people get confused with the digital gateway and ASG gateway because the gateway word in their name. Let me try to clarify quickly. The digital gateway is the gateway to ensure the CDR quality. So it is related to the CDR mainly. And the ASG gateway, on the other hand, is the data exchange hub. ASG stands for Accord Solution Group, and ASG uses Accord's ADAPT product. ADAPT stands for Accord Data Exchange Platform and Translator Gateway. ASG gateway will handle the inward-outward messages like Accord messages, APIs, or EDIs on behalf of ICOS and IPOS. Well, ICOS stands for International Claim Orchestration Services. But again, I will cover the ADAPT later in the subsequent presentation in this series. Moving next, same problem over here, scattered data, error in the process, manual work, paperwork. Now the same solutions are also addressing the problems here, but now quickly I will show you something new here. The IPOS system. IPOS stands for International Premium Orchestration Services. IPOS will leverage the CDR to achieve the right speed and accuracy while performing the premium validation or premium processing. It will automatically validate the premium submission with the CDR and will use by the open market and delegate authority premium processing. It's a modern system capable of managing messaging integration between various systems and also leveraging the power of Accord, EBOT, ECOT messages, which are industry standard messages to process business. It also has a portal services for the direct login into the system, and ultimately, as I said, it is designed to automate premium validation by leveraging the power of CDR for faster and accurate premium processing. IPOS is planned to be delivered in two phases. The phase 1 is under sequence 2 for singleton business, which is already live, sequence 3 for London market premium processing, and sequence 4 for delegate authority premium processing business is getting ready to go live by July 1st of this year. Again, it's just a very high level overview of IPOS system, and I will cover the IPOS system in a greater detail in a subsequent presentation in this series. ICOS, or International Claim Orchestration Services, works on the same principle as IPOS by leveraging the CDR, but I will discuss IPOS later. Okay, let's move to the next and final slide in this presentation, and let's try to stitch all together. So we started with MRC version 3 and CDR leveraging the power of Accord standard. So these three items, in my view, lay down the foundational standard on which the rest of the processing is going to thrive. Now the CDR moved to the digital gateway, which will ensure the CDR will remain valid and intact all the time and keep the CDR for later processing. Since we discussed the IPOS, which will leverage the CDR to process the premium by a series of automatic validation for the London market open business and delegate authority business. Now for those who are operating in London market knows the importance of these three main systems: LIDS, Clash, and the functionality of these three heavy mainframe systems are now moving to IPOS and ICOS, which are modern systems based on AWS technologies. If I say 1st July go live is largely around the transition of this mainframe system to IPOS and ICOS. Lastly, let's talk about the sequence under which the program is getting delivered. We talked about the sequence 1, which is basically building the foundational capability on which all these systems will work. Sequence 2 is about the IPOS for singleton business, which is not getting ready, which is already delivered. So it is a typo here. It is already delivered and it is live now. Sequence 3 is IPOS and ICOS for London market premium and claim. Sequence 4 is IPOS and ICOS for delegate authority, which is scheduled to go live by 1st July this year. And sequence 5 is little delayed and it will get delivered next year. So that's all from today's video presentation. I hope you have gained some information about the Blueprint 2. Bye-bye and take very good care of yourself. Bye-bye and I will see you soon.